Viewers, what is up and welcome back to another episode of the Flipside. In this episode, we are going to be breaking down a smooth R&B type beat. This is a concept that I made the other day. The ensemble features the following. We have the chords played by an electric piano and the kalimba. We have the melody played by an acoustic piano and the flute. We've got some punchy drums and some banging 808s, and that beat sounds a little bit like this. So lately I've been on this R&B producing spree, and that's mostly because I've challenged myself to step out of my comfort zone and produce music in a different genre. And I'm really happy about this challenge, mostly because the beats I've been putting out as a result of it have been really dope. But it's also because I've had to apply my knowledge of music theory and expand on it. So without further ado, we are going to talk chords first, then we are going to go into the melody, then we're going to go lay down some drums, and that'll conclude our beat breakdown. Let's get right into it. Alright, so chords. And chords can easily be the most time-consuming and tedious thing about your beat, because that's essentially the foundation of your beat. It determines the feel and the mood and, whether or not people feel enticed by it. So the chords that I played for this beat are a D minor 7th. Now that D minor 7 goes directly into an E minor 7th. That E minor 7 goes up to an A minor chord. That A minor chord then goes into an F major 7 chord, and that resolves nicely into an G major chord. Now I get that says entirely nothing to you, so how about I just play the chords so you can have an idea of what the feel of this beat is going to be. Oh, little mistake actually. The chord at the end is actually supposed to be a G major chord. So that sounds like this. So you may have seen me play 4 notes per chord, but some of those are actually just double notes. So in this case, with the G major chord, I actually doubled the D and played it an octave lower, as you may see. So let me just play it again for you. So that's how it resolves. So what I usually do is, because the chord progression is good, but it could use a little bit more stank. So what I did, what I usually do is I start stacking notes on top of it. So I take notes that are either in the chord or are like the ninth tone or the 11th tone, and I start stacking them on top of each other. So you can see that my chord progression is pretty much, outfitted with all these stacked notes. They add tension and suspense, and they make that journey a bit more complete. Now what you can see here underneath the chords is that I added some passing notes, because they make the transition from one chord to another a bit more logical. Now, how does that sound like, you may wonder? Well, let me just play the chord progression for you. Okay, so what you also heard is the electric piano, because what I did with the electric piano is I took the completed chord progression from the kalimba, I copy-pasted it, so I took out an instance of a electric piano in Contact 5. That is this one right over here, the pink Playboy from the Mark I. I copy-pasted the chords, and what I did is I actually inverted some of it. So I took the top notes. Let me just take out the other chord progression for reference. So here you can see everything is nicely lined up in, order of the scale. But what I did with the electric piano is I took the higher notes and I transposed them. So I put them an octave lower. So that adds a little bit more depth and ambience. And that you can do that, it's not hard. You can just, select the chords and start moving them around, or you can just use control or command and the arrow down, and that'll automatically transpose it. So that wraps it up for a chord progression. Let's go into the melody, and then let's get into the drums. All right, melody. So for the melody, I took out an instance of the Bansuri flute. That's part of the India Discovery series in Complete 11. And the cool thing about this thing is that you can edit the scale and adjust the notes so that there's like a different effect to them. So you can get them to turn or slide up or whatever. So that's a pretty cool feature. It's the first time I used this for this beat. So I was pretty hyped when I got that melody in my head, right? Oh, and that melody, by the way, that sounds a little bit like this. Let me play it for you. Of course, I played it a little bit faster to fit the beat. I would absolutely love to record this, but due to latency and the fact that I'm also recording my screen and whatnot, actually a little bit difficult to record it and get it right in the rhythm and stuff like that. I fucked that sentence up. Anyways, I'm not recording it. I'm just gonna be putting it into the piano roll. So that's basically the melody that I played for the flute, and the melody that I played for the piano is actually relatively similar. And it goes something like this. So that's actually just a simple 4-note melody that I play somewhere in the back, just to keep the motion in it, complete the entire motive. So let's put those two things in the piano roll. Let's add them into the playlist, and that basically concludes all of our melodic content for the beat. And after that, we are going straight into the drums. Now, before we lay down the drums, and trust me, that's the easiest part of the beat, let me just play you the current melody and the chord progression in 3, 2, 1. Of course, when you think about arrangement, I'm usually not a fan of introducing all of the elements at one time at once, unless I start off the beat with the hook or the chorus. So what I'm probably gonna do is that I'm gonna reserve the flute for the chorus of the song, so that I can just gradually start introducing all of the elements. So I'm gonna start off with the kalimbas, probably introduce the E piano second, then introduce the normal 4-note piano melody, and then I'm gonna reserve the flute for the chorus. Because something you have to keep in mind is that your beat is also determined by the arrangement, and this is actually when it comes to usually when I produce a beat, I start off with a loop and then I start determining, okay, when do I start introducing all of the elements, or when do I take them out, introduce some variation, keep that stuff suspenseful for the listener. Like, it's got to be a journey for them. Okay, so drums. I've got my clap, I got my usual trap setup. I got a clap, I've got a kick, I've got a hi-hat, no intricate hi-hat pattern. I've got the spins 808. So, let's start talking all that. Let's stop all talking all that shit, and I'm gonna just lay it on a drum pattern. Let's get right into it. That's gonna be my simple 808 pattern. Let me just play it again for you. Let's start by laying down the hi-hats first. That's pretty much the easiest part of the drums, if you don't feel like producing all of those intricate hi-hat patterns, all you have to do is right-click the hi-hat channel and then select fill each 2 steps. That gives you basically an 8-note hi-hat pattern. So let me just introduce that first. That's the consistent element about our beat. Psych, that's the wrong clap. All right, and now it's time for the 808s. And that just about wraps up our drum pattern, and that actually completes our concept. So what I'm gonna do from here is just arrange everything properly up until the chorus, and then I'm gonna just play you the entire concept. All right, so I think we got a pretty good arrangement at the moment. So that concludes this beat, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that concludes our video and the beat breakdown. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please leave a comment, hit me up with a like, and of course a sub to this channel, and feel free to follow me on all the other social channels in the video description, but most importantly my BeatStars page, and I'm gonna catch y'all on the flip side. Peace.